Hello everyone, this is a Regents Spiral Review number 4 video, and we are going to get right to number 1. We're going to have a lot of different topics here going. So this one says solve the equation P equals C over Q plus, that's Q, plus T in terms of C, for C, in terms of P, Q, and T. So we have to solve this for C. So my eyes are right here. So I'm going to go and minus T on both sides. Soon as I minus T on both sides, this cancels. You have P minus T equals C over Q. And to solve for C, we're going to multiply Q on both sides. But when we multiply on the left side, we're going to have parentheses around that P minus T because you're multiplying the entire P minus T by Q. So we are going to have a final answer of Q times P minus T equals C. And that is solved for C. And there we go. That is a literal equation. Just remember, use inverse operations to solve for whatever variable they want. So this one is basically showing the table below, shows the time of 10 violin students practicing blah, 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 blah in their recital. And this is what you have here. What is the linear correlation coefficient rounded to the nearest hundredths? Remember, you have to turn on correlate the right here. We're going to press mode, and that's stat diagnostics. We have to turn it on. So if you go all the way down, you see that mine is on already. So we're going to press clear, and we're going to input this list into the stat, enter, and I have 2 lists in there already. So I'm going to press clear, go up to L2, and then go up to L1 and press clear again. So I am going to put 4. This one in L1 and this in L2. So once I have 4 in, 7, 3, 2, just be careful putting these in, 10, 12, 9, 6, 5, and 7. And that is 10 numbers right there. The calculator is waiting for the 11th number. It's not going to get it. There is no 11th number. 6, 4, 7, 3, 2, 1, 2, 8, 5, and 3. And just check to see if you have the right amount of numbers there. We do. And we're going to look for the correlation coefficient. Just remember, we're going to press stat. We're going to go over to calc, and we are going to down to 4, right, for the linear regression equation. Yep, it's going to give you the linear regression equation, but it'll also give you the R, which is the correlation coefficient. So this is the R. This right here, if they ever asked it, which they probably will, the A is the slope, that is the rate. The B is the y-intercept. You see where the calculator says y equals ax plus b, but the R, not the R squared, the R is the correlation coefficient. So we are going to round this to the nearest hundredth. So this is R equals negative 0.65. negative 0.65 because this is a 3, so it stays a 5. All right, negative 0.65 is number 3. And that is that. All right, number 3, what value of x makes this true? Again, you know I am going to rewrite it. Lots of fractions here. Now, you could substitute these in and see which one works, but I'm just going to do distributive property. So, 2/3. I'm going to clear this out. And it's 2/3 times 2. So alpha x, 2 over 3 times 2. And we get 4 over 3. And you can see it there, 4 over 3. So that's 4 over 3x. Minus, because the positive times the negative, I know it's going to be a minus sign. 2/3. Times negative 3 over 8. And we get negative 1/4. Now I'm going to add 1/4 to both sides. And look, you could put this in the calculator, but if you add 1/4 to both sides, this becomes 7 over 4 plus 1 over 4. That's 8 over 4. So I'm going to go 4 over 3 x equals 8 over 4 is 2. 8 divided by 4, 2. So now I'm just going to do multiply by the reciprocal to get rid of that fraction. This cancels, this cancels, this cancels, this cancels. X equals, and when you put this into the calculator, guess what you get? You get 3 over 2. And that is your answer. For which values of a and b is a times b an irrational number? So you have to multiply, right? So, look, you could just put this in the calculator, right? So it's not a difficult thing right here. So I'm just going to move this over. I'm going to move my face over here, and I'm going to make sure that we see exactly what's going on here. So we're going to just put 5 times square root of 64. You know, square root of 64 is a perfect square. So this is like 5 times 8, and that's 40. So if this is 40, if this is multiplication, we're multiplying. This is 40. This is a rational number. 1/5 times radical 3. I'm just going to tell you right now, that is irrational. But I'm going to do it anyway. This is alpha x, 1 over 5, which is rational, times a radical 3, which is irrational. And you know that that is going to come out to be an irrational number. All right, so an irrational number, it's 2. Square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is the square root of 49, which is 7. And that's rational. It's a perfect square. 1 times 1 on the top, if we were multiplying, this is 1. And this is 4. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 9 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. And that is rational. I mean, use your calculator. You could just put it in your calculator. They're all going to say that exactly what I'm talking about. This is 5 times 8. Like, you could see the perfect squares that are right there if you know them. And that is it. So that's number 4. Number 5, you could either do this by hand, or if this is multiple choice, you could do this with the calculator. But there's no multiple choice here. So remember, with that distributive property, you have 3x squared times 2x squared. That's 6x to the 4th. 3x squared times negative 6, let me move this over, is 6, 12, 18, negative 18x squared. Negative 4x times 2x squared is negative 8x to the 3rd. You're adding the exponents. And negative 4x times negative 6, that's a positive 24x. Last but not least, you have 2 times 2x squared, that's plus 4x squared. And you get 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12. Now we have a long list of terms here that we're going to combine. So I'm going to look for the 4th first, and there is only one with an exponent of 4. So we're done with that. Now I'm going to look for 3, putting this in standard form right away, and there's only one. So that's good. Negative 18x squared plus 4x squared is negative 14x squared when you combine those. So this is good and this is good. The 24x comes next. That is good. And then the constant is last, which is negative 12. This is your answer. And that's in standard form with a leading coefficient of 6 and the degree of 4. So I just put down that this is standard form. There's 5 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The leading coefficient is 6. The degree is the 4th degree. If they ask, the constant is negative 12. And that is it. So it says find the vertex and the axis of symmetry. We're going to graph this first. So put that in the graphing calculator. We're going to just go like this. And we are going to press y equals and clear out whatever it is that we have in there. And we're going to put this quadratic in there. Negative x squared minus the 2x plus the 24, and we're going to press graph. And I just take a look at what I have here from the last question that I messed with my window with. So if you do mess with your window and you want to just change it back, you press zoom and 6 for standard. And you notice it is back to a 10 by 10 graph. But the problem is that I don't have a 10 by 10 graph here. So I have a y that goes up to like 26. I have an x that is negative 9 and 7. And I'm not going to mess around with this. I'm just going to go ahead and look at the table and going to graph this right now. So I'm going to go to second function table, and I'm going to go to negative 9 and see where we're at here. So actually, I'm not going to go to negative 9. You see, this is negative 224. So if it's negative 224, if I go up to negative 321, negative 7, negative 11, I can't fit that. So negative 5, 9, I could fit. I'm having trouble seeing. So negative 6, 0, you could see exactly what it is that I am going to graph. So If I have -7, -11, I can't graph that because it doesn't go down. But -6, 0, you could start that right there. -6, 0 is right here. And -5, 9, I could graph. -5, 9. -4, 16 is right there, I think. 16, 17, yeah. It's a weird looking graph. -3, 21 would be right here. -2, 24 would be right here. -1, 25 would be right here. 0, 24 would be here. 121 and 216, 121 and 216. We'll go down now. 3, 9 and 4, 0. And anything beyond that, I can't graph because that's 5, -11. So I'm going to create my parabola, and it's going to be upside down. It's going to be facing down just like this one is. So the vertex, well, I'm just going to graph that right there and put my arrows, label it. Now they're going to ask me all types of questions here. The vertex is right here where I put that arrow. So this is 1, 25. So the vertex is the 1, 25. And that is a maximum. All right. I'm going to put maxima because that's what they sometimes call it. The axis of symmetry is always x equals, and it is -b over 2a is really what you want to put down. -b over 2a, it's given. So x equals -b, a is -1, b is -2. So -b is 2 over 2 times -1. So x equals -1. So that is the axis of symmetry. X equals 1. -1. You could also tell by just drawing a dotted line down like this. This is the axis of symmetry, but the equation is x equals -1. See how it crosses that -1 on the x-axis? That is the axis of symmetry. The zeros, the x-intercepts, that is -6 and 4. So we're going to put -6 or 4. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is 24. It's 0, 24. So it's 24. And it says graph the function. We already did that. And I just changed it to b equals 24. That's the y-intercept, 0, 24. So you could see exactly right there. And that is everything as far as that question goes. And there is the parabola. Just remember when you're graphing a negative quadratic like that, it is going to be facing down. right? So it's a negative x squared. You know it faces down. If it's a positive, it faces up. In this case, it faces down, and that's about it. All right, and that ends the spiral review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.